Hello Kill67 Gaming, we're back again with another favourite 5. We went console specific last time with the Atari 2600. We're going console specific again, this time with one of my favourite consoles of all time. This one is the Sega Mega Drive. So, my 5th favourite Mega Drive game of all time. It is actually my favourite arcade game of all time. Doesn't hit the top spot on the Mega Drive though, as the conversion isn't really arcade perfect, and you know, there's other things that's missing. But here we go.
Get ready.
So there we are, Sega's very own conversion of their own arcade game, Outrun. Outrun was just absolutely the greatest arcade coin-op game there has ever been. The Mega Drive port, not quite so good. It's still a very good game. It's by far the best racing game that's available on the Mega Drive, and you can have a huge amount of fun with it. The fact that it's not number 1 means that actually there were some pretty good games on the Mega Drive. So without further ado, we'll go for my 4th favourite game on the Sega Mega Drive. So, it's a shooter. That shouldn't be too much of a surprise to anyone who watches the channel. You know that I like my shmups. This one is Gimmick, which I believe in North America was known as Wings of War, which kind of makes a lot more sense to an English speaking person. But here in Europe we got it as Gimmick, and it is a fantastic shmup where you side-scrolling. Possibly there'll be a few people go, what, Gimmick? What the hell is Gimmick? Not R-Type? No, not R-Type. This is one of those games where, for anyone who knows the area that I'm from, Newcastle, we've got a street in Newcastle called the Westgate Road. Now, when I was a kid, really, we're talking through 8-bit consoles and 16-bit consoles. The Westgate Road was where you went to get games that weren't stocked in your big stores. So if you wanted Sonic, if you wanted Streets of Rage, if you wanted Golden Axe, you could get them anywhere. If you wanted something that was a bit different, you went to the Westgate Road. Now, the Westgate Road is predominantly motorcycle dealerships. So, as a kid, you had to fight through, and I mean, on a Saturday afternoon especially, this place was absolutely filled with bike gangs. You had lots of Hells Angels and that sort of thing. And you'd weave your way through all the Hells Angels, and you got the 3 or 4 stores that they had there, which done video games. No, they didn't specialise in video games. I mean, you went in these were like emporiums of everything. So you got musical instruments, drum kits, guitars, bass guitars, all that sort of thing, and video games. And they imported video games, so you got something that was a bit different. Gimmick was one of those games. Absolutely loved it. Brilliant shmup. You may not have heard of it. If you haven't, try and find it. It's probably not going to be the easiest thing to find, but it's well worth the effort. So that was number 4. And coming up now is my 3rd favourite game for the Sega Mega Drive. Well, you may have guessed, this is another Westgate Road find. This one is El Viento, which is a side-scrolling action game, action platformer, that kind of thing, kind of along the same lines as Strider and that sort of thing. Brilliant, brilliant game. Probably not one of the most common games that you'll ever find about, but it's certainly worth looking out if you ever see it. Brilliant fun and highly recommended. That being said, we've got 2 left to go. What we're having for number 2. Well, the 16-bit era was defined by platform games. So obviously the Super Nintendo had Mario. The Mega Drive may have had Sonic, but it wasn't my favourite. My favourite, as you've just seen, absolutely my favourite platform game on the system was Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. It was a first-party Sega game. Obviously, they got the Mickey Mouse license, done a game with it. It didn't have the breakneck speed of Sonic, so it's probably paced a little more like Mario. I just really like the game. Absolutely adored it when it first came out. I can still play it now. In fact, when I was capturing the footage for this, I don't know if I'm ashamed to admit, but I have to admit, I actually played the game all the way till the end and, and rescued Minnie. So that gives you an idea just how much I like this game. And I didn't plan to do that. I only planned to catch a little bit of footage, but couldn't help but play the game all the way to its conclusion. Great game. So that's number 2. So there's only one place left, and this is my favourite game of all time on the Sega Mega Drive. So it is Sensible Software's masterpiece, and not their sports masterpiece, Sensible Soccer. This is a cannon fodder. For those who watch the channel, you'll know that I actually quite like my RTSs. Cannon fodder was kind of like a precursor for RTSs. So I had a lot of the elements that you would find in a real-time strategy game, where you'd point and click for where you want people to go, where you want them to fire, this sort of thing. However, it was done on such a small scale that you can't really call it a real-time strategy game. It's more of an action game. And it works so well because the real-time strategy game evolved into what it was with the mass battles and such like. You kind of never got another cannon fodder, and I wish they would do another one. I think there was a mission on the original Command and Conquer, or was it mission 3 or 4, where you controlled a single commando. Now it's kind of the same sort of thing, but this was a whole game of that. Absolutely addictive, and quite poignant for a video game. Whenever you lost a soldier, you lost them for good. Regardless of their rank, you lost them for good. And ahead of the next level, you would see more recruits coming down to the recruiting office, and there would be a gravestone on the hill behind where they came to. It was very well done. And I don't think that Sensible Software were actually that popular outside of, well, possibly not outside of the UK, to be honest with you. Certainly not outside of Europe. And that's such a shame, because we're such a great developer that deserved so much praise for what they've done. As I said, you had Cannon Fodder was the precursor for all real-time strategy games. Their other game, Sensible Soccer, it set the template for all sports games for a while. So, they were a very important developer, certainly in the UK. Didn't get the recognition that they deserved. Anyway, that's my list. Now I know that people don't agree with me, because I didn't put Sonic in, but Castle of Illusion in instead as my platformer. So I didn't do that. I didn't put in Streets of Rage 2. I'm sure people have noticed that. Didn't put in Golden Axe. There's a lot of games that I didn't put in, but this is a personal thing. This is my favourite games. This isn't the most technically most technically advanced games. It's not the most popular games. This is my favourite games, and these were my favourite games. I hope you've enjoyed going through them with me. There's certainly a couple of games on there that I think are less well known, that you may want to try and look out and have a go at. I really hope you do, because I think you'll have a great time playing them. But that's it. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on the video. Give the channel a subscribe. If you know someone who you think would be interested in this, give the video a share. And until next time, keep gaming.